Morning, how is everyone? Quick video, excuse my attire, not long woke up, didn't really sleep very well. When I feel called to do a little video, it's not about getting ready and making the video perfect and doing loads of takes. It's just about being real and raw in the moment and saying what I feel needs said. So that being said, at the moment, the current energies, it feels like a boiling pot ready to go off, and I believe the powers that were, who lost the grip a while ago, are ramping things up to cause things to happen so they can further feed off it. So what I mean by that is orchestrating or being behind events to get reactions, to cause divide, because with divide comes control. And there's so much going around my head at the minute. There's so many kind of things happening, like violent things, assassinations, like things being put out there. When you look into them, something about them doesn't look quite right as well. Some of them are quite glitchy. There's things that don't make sense. So did they happen, or are we watching something that isn't real? You know, we're always told the world is a stage. Are things being staged, or you know, it's very confusing time as well. But if we think about it, don't give them your power, don't give them food, which is fear, because ultimately there is nothing to fear. We're eternal beings, we can't really be harmed. This reality is temporary, so it feels, when we're here, it feels really, really, really real, and we'll start buying into it and we'll start believing. You know, there's a lot of divide being pushed at the minute. You know, it's awake versus woke, it's immigration, it's climate stuff, it's veganism, there's things going on all over the place, and people are just getting really, really pissed off. And you don't blame them, you know, you don't blame them for getting pissed off. Everybody just wants to live their life, well, mostly everybody, in peace, and they want to thrive and they want to be healthy and they want a good life, which is our birthright, which is what we deserve. But at the minute, it's a turbulent time and things are being stopped. My thoughts with I'm going to take this off because I'm getting really warm. My thoughts with the immigration stuff. Obviously, we can't judge everybody that comes over, you know, with the same brush. Some that come over are causing crimes, are causing things that shouldn't be happening, you know. There's also the rape gangs, and we say rape because it's not grooming gangs, it's actual full-on rape gangs. There's, you know, people claiming that culture as a reason for rape and that it's okay. There's people being arrested for speaking out about stuff, but people who are committing stuff not being arrested, so there's that unfairness being shoved in your face. There's all kinds of stuff going on. The immigration hotels as well as some sort of sinister agenda. Whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know, but I think it was the original plan, putting these fighting age single men, not families, you know, not people who were in actual need were being moved out of them to put these men in, and something to do with the security firm Serco. So what were they going to employ them as give them jobs in security? Is that because they're going to try and unleash something, and then our, you know, police or whatever aren't going to back it? So, you know, is that what's behind that? That feels pretty true. Or are they going to orchestrate a terrorist event with them and then use it as a way to push for the digital ID? So here's problem solution scenario. Say we do need the digital ID, even though the powers that were brought them in via our government in the first place. You know, there's some agenda going on with that. Whether it comes to fruition or not, I don't know, but I feel like there was an intention of that, but too many people have wised up to what's going on and aren't allowing it. But then I also think when people are doing the protest, you know, which, well, within the right, when they're putting these people in these places and crimes going up and people are being harmed, people are outraged, and so they should be. But then the protests, you know, are the powers that we're feeding back to these fighting age men. See, they don't like you, here's a good reason for you to attack them, here's a good reason for you to join us and be part of our military operation or whatever they want to use them for, you know. So there's all that kind of stuff playing out, and what I'm feeling as I'm doing this video, I'm getting a lot of solar plexus and a lot of, no, it's a lot of, no, it's a bit more root chakra. It's a bit more, if you know the chakras, it's a bit more about security and safety. What I'm feeling as it's low as I'm doing this video. That's what's coming through, and frustration for people as well. So yeah, so you've got all of that going on. Climate stuff. Do I believe people can actually harm the environment? Yes, I do. But do I believe what they're pushing with the climate narrative is 100% true? No, I think that's for their own gains, and I think that comes into control and making money. Separate thing. Veganism, I think they hijacked that as well. I'm plant-based, and you know, nothing can change my mind around the animals suffering. That's my bottom line. I do not want to contribute to hell on earth. I do not want to be part of that, because that's what they go through. I've seen the undercover videos, I've seen too much of it, I can't even forget it, and I carry that on my own quite heavy every single day about what the animals go through. So nobody can convince me that, even though, you know, people even in the weight community is like, you should just only eat meat, that's the way forward. Well, no, even if that was better for my body, but I do find on plants, I wouldn't convert to it, and I wouldn't convert to it because I don't want to be part of creating hell on earth for other beings as much as I can, you know, because we're not perfect and we live our life in this reality where sometimes we inadvertently harm, but I don't want to be consciously doing that. I don't want to be aware that I'm part of that. So that's a whole different thing. But yes, I do think the vegan agenda is being hijacked and used as well, because I think they want to weaken people as well. You know, there's this mention of like giving them bugs to eat and lab grown food and stuff, and I think all of pushing it that way and putting it under the veganism stuff is a way of getting people away from like real nutrients in terms of what you could get, and getting, you know, this stuff that Bill Gates is putting on food, on plant-based food in America, this clear film stuff that isn't supposed to be good. Of course it isn't, because anything to do associated with him, stay away from, full stop. But anyway, so you've got all of that going on as well, and all of it again is creating them versus us, divide, and we don't need that. We don't need that at all. You know, we need to be looking at the bridges between people. And then we've got the whole transgender stuff, and again, I feel like they've jumped on that, and they've pushed on that to make people who are not of that way inclined, would we say, fearful and hating them and not wanting this pushed and stuff like that, you know, when really we're needing a bridge between the two. And I've worked with people who are transitioning, and they do feel like they were born in the wrong body, and they do go through a lot of pain and suffering to get themselves into the right body. Now, do I think that that's been created on purpose? Yes, I feel like the powers that were found a way to do that, to instill that, whether it's through the water, whether it's through food supply, whatever they're spraying, whether it's through vaccines, I don't know, but I do feel like they've created that, and they're able to do that. And then when they've got people so confused in themselves, people are, when we don't know who we are also easier to control, we are also feeling weaker. So that's a point on that as well. But again, not everybody who's in that camp is a predator. Not everybody who's in that camp is evil. Not everybody who's in that camp is doing it for mental health reasons. Some people genuinely feel they were born into the wrong body, and they've known it since they were little. Nobody told them that. They've known it, they've felt it, and they are now working towards being in a body that feels more them, you know. And that I just know from who I've worked with and my experience of that people are not making that not everybody is making that up. Not everybody who wants to say be in the women's toilet is doing it for a sinister agenda as well. We've got to stop blanketing everybody with something, and we've got to stop buying into these narratives that we're being given, and this fear and this, them and us, you know, because it isn't that simple, but they would like you to view it like that. So it's divide, and it's fearful, and it's let's all go and kill each other, let's all go and fight in the street, you know, and that way they are winning, you know, because this is their last ditch attempt at this reality to hold their power. They've already lost their grip, you know, so they're trying anything, and all of this connects, all of these, you know, your climate change connects, to the veganism stuff connects to that. Your transgender stuff is just another avenue to have people separate. And yes, I do think they created that. They were shown to, even in experiments with frogs, I believe it was, to be able to change the sexuality of them by putting something into the water as well. For them, this is depopulation, you know. If people, you know, are not straight, as you say, they're probably less likely to have as many kids, and their goal is depopulation. I also seen some research came out about the jabs and how well, first of all, they were causing a lot of miscarriages and things. They were also messing up a lot of women's periods. I was around people who were jabbed and period was going crazy, you know, so there was definitely something going on with that. And with the jabs as well, something that was Abby Wynn mentioned just recently, some research about something was that women who were jabbed and then went on to have sons, the sons are most likely going to find it really hard to conceive, you know, because of something that was in the jab. And again, that feeds into their depopulation as well. Everything ties together, all these dots do connect, and awake people as well are not your enemy. Awake people want health, they want a good life, they want it's two little birds sitting on my fence as I'm saying this, lovely, really nice little birds, messengers. They want goodness, they want fairness, they don't want kids to be sexualized, they don't want that to come in early in schools, they don't want the kids to be confused. So they are not enemies, they are, you know, people who want good in the world, people who want God in the world as well, in a way. These little birds are just playing in the garden, it's so cute. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm on 12-13 minutes and this is long for a video, but I just felt like there was a lot to say there. And don't step into hate because it's food for them. Don't step into divide because it's food for them and it's easier for them to control. And don't step into fear. That's the ultimate, you know, that brings the collective vibration down to their level. This reality does have the potential to be hell on earth. We don't have to contribute to it, you know. We stand proud, we do our thing, we do what's right, we do what's good. We live our lives the best we can, and we try and detach from all this stuff, you know. So anyways, I'm putting that out there. Peace, love and light.